Welcome to CounterCulture, a talk show in a diner.
On tonight's show, I welcome author, motivator, and inspirational speaker, Franne McNeal.
It's important to be passionate about your business, and you need help running the business.
All right here on CounterCulture.
Hi, folks. My next guest is a true inspiration. She's coached more than 1,000 business leaders to improve their companies and careers. She's the president of Significant Business Results. She's the author of Significant, From Frustrated to FranneTastic Inspirational Stories for the Entrepreneurial Woman. Frankly, a book not just for business and not just for women, because I read it and it is an inspiration. It's inspiring for all of us. Please welcome Franne McNeal to the counter. Franne!
Whoa, thank you, Grover.
It is so good to have you at the counter. You have a presence that is just very relaxing and reassuring. I can imagine your clients just love you.
Well, sometimes they do and sometimes they don't.
You have to be honest with them, right?
Right, I have to be honest, right? I ask a lot of questions and I get them thinking, and that's part of the magic.
Right.
Because they do the work and I support them.
They come to a class? Is
They
that
come
you
to
offer a class?
In fact, they come to Community College of Philadelphia. It's a very exciting program. It's called the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses Program. And over the last 6+ years, we've worked with 539 small businesses. So it's very, very exciting to see people start the class, and within 6 months after finishing the class, their business has grown. And as a fellow entrepreneur,
Yes.
we understand sort of what makes entrepreneurs tick. We understand when they want to resist, and we understand that growth is possible.
Your expertise is in business administration, improving productivity, people, revenue, all of that good stuff.
Right. All for small businesses. That's really my focus. I mean,
The
entrepreneurs and the business owners, the folks that want to work on their business instead of in their business, and they want to do things other than business. So in order to be able to step away, they've got to have their house in order.
So what would be the type of business that might come to you, and what kind of problem do they bring to your doorstep?
Well, the problems vary. Usually the problem is I'm not seeing the revenue growth I want, or I can't find the right employees. Sometimes the business owner is the problem, in that they really don't want to recognize that the problem needs for them to step back and be more strategic. So that's where we come in, the whole 10KSB team, and kind of help people say, okay, here's the reality. You got to learn some things, you got to let go of some things, and you have to do a different type of work in order to make your business work. There are probably fundamentals, just because you've been running your business, that you haven't been paying attention to. So there's a lot of things that people sort of put their business on automatic, but it may not be automatically set for growth. And that's our focus. It is important to be passionate about your business, and you need to run the business like a business. And you need help running the business. What the program does is put people in an environment where they can learn from each other and recognize, hey, I'm not the only one. So they may be in a group where someone has a funeral home, someone has a florist, someone's an interior designer, someone's an engineer, someone's a baker. And they're like, wait a minute, how do we all work together? And sure enough, by the third or fourth class, they say, you know what? We can learn from each other. And that's when they become dangerous.
I would think they're strong-willed people, for the most part.
For the most part. And that's a good thing, because businesses grow in different ways. We admire the strength that they bring to the business, and we want to temper that with knowledge.
I find it very interesting. You know, you started out, you got your degree from Princeton.
Yes.
Your parents were both medical doctors.
Yes.
And then years into your career, you were diagnosed with breast cancer.
Yes. At one point, I was running my business, my second business, and I wasn't feeling well. I went to the doctor, and I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I remember my immediate thought was, I don't have time. I'm running a business, you know. And so over time, I did, in fact, have the chemotherapy. And a few days later, after my third round of chemotherapy, I had a stroke. And so there's a book called Shift Happens, and then if you remove a letter or so, you come up with a different word. And, you know, stuff happens. Being paralyzed was one of those experiences that when people aren't open to new ideas, I understand that they might be mentally paralyzed. Just the fear of the unknown. What I try to share in my book is I understand that there are these peaks and valleys, and you can go from being frustrated, I call it, to being FranneTastic, but you can go from, you know, having lemons to making lemonade. And then the lemonade can go sour, and you can have yellow water and go, wait a minute, what is that? And it's an important lesson in life. I mean, you opened with the fact that you read the book. I mean, clearly, these are a series of short stories from my life. A big part of learning is when people answer questions for themselves. So I try to provide questions for people to think about the short story from their own lens and say, you know, what was a time when I had a challenge and I overcame that challenge? Because ultimately life is about taking step after step. And if you fall in a puddle, get up, move on. So what? You've got a wet foot.
These are inspirational, true stories.
True stories,
that are applicable to people in business and in life in general.
In life in general.
Well, Fran, it was so great to have you on the show.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much. You are FranneTastic.
Thank you.
If I must say so myself. Franne McNeal, a woman and business pro whose determination serves as a great example of how when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Well, that's all for this episode of CounterCulture. I'd like to thank tonight's guests, author, motivator, and inspirational speaker in business and in life, Franne McNeal.
Ultimately, life is about taking step after step.
And I want to thank you folks for watching. Don't forget to tune in next week because you never know who you'll meet at the counter.